Hi everybody, today I'm going to talk about very important subject, histamine intolerance and mast cell activation syndrome. So I'll be talking about what is that, I will be explaining how this function, how this is happening, what is causing it, what are the symptoms and what we can do about this to reduce the symptoms and reduce the histamine intolerance. Okay, so before I start, just make sure that you register for the free 3-part video series on the link above on healing the gut naturally, where I will explain everything about what is causing gut damage and what we can do, what are the steps to follow in order to heal the gut naturally. Okay, so let's get started. So I believe there is no person on the planet that haven't experienced these symptoms, any of these symptoms. So it's like feeling skin rashes, sneezing, itching, dizzy from sitting to standing, some kind of dermatitis, vertigo, red flushes, congestion in the nose or runny nose, then headache. So I don't believe there is any person on the planet that hasn't had a headache. So this also can be cause of the headache. So please listen carefully. I will explain. This is a complicated thing, but I will try to explain it in a simple way so you can understand. If you have any questions, just please write it below and I will try to explain it and answer promptly. So as I said, headache, brain fog, congestion, as I said, sinus issues, then shortness of breath, wheezing, lightheaded, fast heart rate or tachycardia. Sometimes we can feel that. Some people feel that. I used to have that. And like feeling like you will pass out. Then also gut symptoms, which are bloating, diarrhea, gas, and cramping. Okay, these are also symptoms of mast cell activation and histamine release. I will explain why this is happening. Okay, so irregular heart rate, as I mentioned, anxiety, skin issues like red skin rashes, flushy red when you all over just immediately turn red in the face, then itchy skin, red eyes, facial swelling. Sometimes when we wake up we feel swelling, so this might be an issue of the histamine intolerance. Asthma attack, irregular menstrual cycles, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, as I said, tissue swelling, and sometimes difficulty regulating body temperature and dizziness. Okay, so what are mast cells? Mast cells are cells which are our immune cells. They're first defense of our body, and they're all over the body. Most of them are located in the gut, in the mucosal area, in the sinus, in the lungs, and in the skin, in the heart. And they are actually first defense and reacting as soon as foreign toxin or pathogen on bacteria and anything that is causing harm to our body, they are reacting. And how they are reacting? They are releasing histamine. They're also releasing heparin and serotonin and anticoagulant. They're triggering immune response, interleukin 6, 8, and they're also reacting to LPS, the lipopolysaccharides released from the bad bacteria in the gut. And they are involved in our immunity defense. So they're actually defending our body. And we'll talk about only the histamine. So they're releasing, let's say, histamine. And histamine is a molecule. It's like a messenger. So it's going throughout our body in where the mast cells are located and is binding to the receptors. So receptors we have all over our body. And histamine is alerting our body that something, some toxin, some pathogen, something invader is coming to attack our body. So what is histamine doing? It's like, for example, if you imagine like an army camp, and there is one boy messenger. He's early in the morning, knocking on every door and alerting everybody to wake up, and enemies coming to prepare, and all the doors, he's knocking out and awakening up all the army. And the army is getting ready to fight the enemy, right? So the histamine is doing the same thing. So they are triggering, they have receptors on the immune cells, and they are alerting the immune cells, the white blood cells, the lymphocytes, everything. It's alert, and they start attacking, searching for the invader, for the enemy in the body. And this is a good thing, because this is defending our body from the enemy, from the toxins, from the pathogens, from the food. Some food are triggering this reaction, and some food has histamine. So this is good, because sometimes maybe you have experienced, if you enter, or maybe some people in the spring from the pollen, they start sneezing, you know. This is our immune cells are now forcing our body to expel, to throw away the enemy. So by sneezing, by coughing, you are expelling the toxin, right? Or itchy skin, so it's going out of the skin, so it's trying to remove this toxin from the skin, from the body. This histamine, after it is processed, we have an enzyme which is called DAO, which is diamine oxide, and this enzyme is produced in the gut, in the villi, in the fingers of the gut, you know, on the surface of the gut villi, and this diamine oxide is metabolizing this histamine, excess histamine, and we are expelling it in the stool. But what happens if we have damaged gut? If we have damaged gut lining, if we have a leaky gut, it's we have less production of diamine oxide, so less production of this enzyme, which is helping us to reduce the histamine intolerance. And then people experience more of these symptoms. So it's like a bucket, you know. Also, stress is increasing the histamine production. The bad bacteria in the gut is increasing the toxin and increasing the histamine release of the mast cells and increasing the allergy response. So we don't want to take histamine blockers, because we need histamine. Histamine is neurotransmitter. It's a messenger. It's sending to the brain the, let's say, serotonin, which is produced in the gut, and send the happiness hormone into the brain, so we feel happy. If we block the histamine, we may feel more depressed. Histamine is very helpful in producing the HCl, hydrochloric acid, in the stomach, which is very important for the digestion. Many people have problem with, they think they have lower HCl, so they cannot digest the food. So histamine is very important. We need it in order to have a better digestion. And also, for example, if we have bad bacteria, yeast in the gut, we have bacteria overgrowth, and they are producing more toxins, which are increasing the histamine, and they are reducing the DAO enzyme. If you can relate with this, and if you have experienced any kind of these symptoms, just write below, I want to know. Let's see now what is causing it. So what can cause and trigger this histamine release and overproduction of histamine and reaction? So it may be genetic, sometimes it's genetic, but we can trigger these genes to be activated by, it can be from vitamin deficiency, maybe IBD, irritable bowel disease, maybe from medications. Some medications are triggering, they have toxins to trigger the mast cells to produce more histamine. So bad bacteria, which are producing the LPS, the lipopolysaccharides, which create mast cells to react and produce more histamine. Then estrogen dominant, which is xenoestrogens, which are in the plastic everywhere around us, and most of our bodies have estrogen dominant from these xenoestrogens. So the food which are there are two types of foods which are triggering the histamine reaction, production of the mast cells, and another food which already have histamine in them, and they are filling the bucket with too much histamine. So histamine rich food is alcohol, fermented food, avocado, eggplant, dried fruit, spinach, processed food, processed meat, and shellfish. And the food that triggers release of histamine is also alcohol, banana, tomato, wheat, beans, papaya, chocolate, and citrus fruits like lemon, grapefruit, orange, pineapple, like that. If somebody, when he eats this kind of food and it experiences any of these symptoms like stuffed nose, runny nose, or itching or something, dizziness, then they have histamine intolerance, so they need to reduce this kind of food. Also cinnamon, chili powder, and because some people cannot tolerate dry spices. There are also food that blocks the DAO enzyme, which we need DAO enzyme to break down the histamine. So this kind of food which blocks the DAO enzyme is also alcohol, black tea, green tea, matcha tea, energy drinks, or also those who trigger the histamine release are alcohol, banana, tomatoes, wheat, papaya, chocolate, citrus fruit, nuts, walnuts, cashew nuts, and peanuts. Food dyes and other additives in the food. So these symptoms can be triggered, as I said, genetically. If we have leaky gut, so the histamine is going directly in the blood, it's not staying in the gut, and there is no DAO enzyme to produce it, to metabolize it. So leaky gut, gut disbalance, as I said, more bacteria which are creating more histamine, and some are triggering the histamine release. And also estrogen dominance, as I said, and also yeast, parasites, H. pylori, some medications are blocking DAO enzyme, and mold can cause it. Mold is a huge histamine trigger. And estrogen dominance and vitamin deficiency like B6, copper, vitamin C, stress can trigger histamine release. Egg whites can be histamine liberators. Then, as I said, estrogen can bring also histamine and creates joint pain. So when we have high estrogen, as I mentioned, we have more histamine intolerance, because progesterone helps in DAO production, in the enzyme production. So that's why women who are having their cycles, usually when in the beginning, in the first half, in the middle of the cycle, when the estrogen is high, they may experience more symptoms. And right before the period, they can experience high symptoms of histamine intolerance and reactions. So as I said, if the bucket is full, so if you have, let's say, leaky gut, if you have gut disbalance, if you have stress in your body, chronic stress, which sometimes we are not aware of, then if we have estrogen dominance, if we have H. pylori, if we have if you are eating this kind of food which are triggering the histamine, so the bucket will overflow and there will be too much histamine and the body will be hyperactive. So the histamine is waking up the immune cells, as I said, to make the symptoms, to clear up the toxin from the body. And also if we put too much toxins, too much processed food, artificial colors, dyes, they are also triggering histamine release. Antibiotics also stimulate histamine release. So people who are also on keto diet, they may experience this kind of symptoms, because on keto diet they eat more avocados, which are triggering the histamine. They eat collagen, which is also high in histamine. They may eat sausages and bacon, which is aged and smoked. They have the aged cheese also. It has more long time to develop the bacteria which are creating the histamine. So everything which is aged, older, it has bacteria which are histamine producing bacteria. Peanuts also have mold, and also pistachios. They are the worst from the nuts, which can create histamine, mast cell activation and release of the histamine. So now let's talk about what we can do about this and how we can improve our body not to react on these symptoms and not to have histamine intolerance and mast cell activation. The worst is taking histamine blockers, because we are making the problem worse on the long run. As I said, we need the histamine. We need this immune response which is defending our body from the toxins, from the outside invaders, from the pathogens. So we need histamine and we need mast cells to work properly. Also, when we have like diarrhea, like the body is trying to expel the toxin, the parasite, the pathogen, the bad bacteria. So our body, with this process, this mechanism is trying to expel, to release, and to move away the pathogens which is damaging our body. So as I said, we need to reduce the bucket overload. So we need to reduce the stress. We need to heal the gut, which is very important for production of DAO enzyme, which is metabolizing the histamine. If you haven't signed up, please sign up for the 3-part video series on how to heal the gut naturally and the steps which you need to follow. And also stress is included there. So stress is very important. Then movement, exercise, and nutrition, the proper nutrition, healthy, organic, of course. And we need to reduce all these kind of food which are triggering the histamine release. So establishing the gut balance with the good bacteria and to heal the leaky gut. So we'll not have too much histamine going in the blood and causing reactions. So the best thing is to take quercetin. So quercetin is reducing the histamine levels, but it's not blocking the DAO enzyme like the histamine blockers do, because they block the DAO enzyme and we need this enzyme. It shouldn't be blocked. So which food have quercetin? That's apples are high in quercetin, sage, olive oil, broccoli, red onion, kale, capers, asparagus, as I said, broccoli. It's very cruciferous vegetables. These are goitrans, but these don't cause problem to they cause problem to the thyroid only in conjunction when they are consumed together with gluten. So gluten, the must thing to go away. Then vitamin C, zinc, nettle, basil, and selenium. We need also to support the liver of the toxins, to clear up the toxins from the body. So we need to reduce the bucket load. We need to improve the gut bacteria, because the good bacteria, if we feed them, when we populate the good bacteria and we have more of them, they will produce short chain fatty acids like butyrate, and they're anti-inflammatory. They reduce the inflammation in the body. They prevent colon cancer, improve leaky gut, optimize immune cells, and suppress Escherichia coli. They also suppress salmonella and prevent diabetes and improve satiety hormone. This short chain fatty acid, they can cross the brain-blood barrier. So they can improve our mood, they can reduce inflammation, and they can improve the cardiovascular health. So microbes in the gut, they transform histidine, which is amino acids, into histamine. And histamine actually doesn't cause any damage to our body because it's a normal process. We need it. It's our defensive system. But if we have a leaky gut, and then we are more vulnerable to develop histamine intolerance. So the histamine is increased in the blood because the leaky gut is allowing the histamine to go in the blood and cause more inflammation and more damage, because the cells are more activated, and then we have an issue. Because people who have healthy gut, they don't have histamine intolerance and they don't react to this food. So we need to improve our gut in order to be able to tolerate more histamine-rich food. So the problem is not in the food. This food that I all mentioned, it's all healthy food and it's all rich in nutrients, and we need this food. So the problem is healing the gut and be able to tolerate much more easily this histamine-rich food and not to react on them and take the nutrients from them. I want also to mention then that people who react to histamine, who has histamine intolerance, most of the time they have MTHFR gene mutation. So it may be a genetic for some people. So what we can use fresh spices. That's much better than dried spices. Then bone broth is high histamine, but if it's cooked without meat, only the bones, and if it's cooked in Instapot, not in the slow cooker, Instapot, and only short time, like 1 hour, because as long as it is cooked, it's creating more histamine. Then organ meats are very good, especially kidney. They help in production of DAO enzyme. So kidneys are rich in DAO enzymes. So you can buy and cook kidneys and make a stew or something to help with the production of DAO enzyme. The thing is that some people are taking antihistamine medication, which, as I said, may be like a temporary relief, may be okay, but that's decreasing the production of DAO enzyme. So we don't want that. Maybe taking a supplement as DAO, just only the enzyme as a supplement, that's good, helping to break down histamine. But the thing is, we need to address our gut so it can produce by itself DAO enzyme to regenerate the gut villi and the gut to be more healthy and to create DAO enzyme which we need for histamine metabolize. So the most important thing is to reduce stress, to reduce the histamine rich food, heal the gut. Just sign up on the link above and see the steps, watch the videos, and we are starting on 16th of May. The first video will be released. So please register on the link above, and then you will understand how the gut is damaged and what are the steps to heal the gut lining and to improve the villi to heal the gut. Okay, so then it's, as I said, eat the DAO rich food, which is organ meats, kidney, placenta is also good. Salami, usually in the salami, this pate, they usually put this kidney supplement, kidney organ meats. Everything from the organs, it's like from leftovers, they say, and they make it like a pate, like salami. But we have to be careful because that's processed. If it stays longer on the shelf, then it's creating more bacteria. And we can support the mast cells and to control them with selenium, and vitamin E is also good. So I hope that you like this video, and this is very important. And I believe that everybody will find it interesting and beneficial for them, because many people are reacting to many things and our bucket is overfull, is overflowed, and it's coming out of the bucket. So we need to control, and we are in position to control our body and our reaction and what we eat and how much we are stressed and how much we exercise, and everything depends on us. Okay, so see you in the 3-part video series on 16th of May. Bye.